Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time. Something Todd and I have been talking about for a while is why we like real estate, why it's our thing, why stocks or crypto or other things aren't our thing. So let's welcome Todd back to the show. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
You're the guest, so let's play some ping pong together. Let's talk about why we specifically have chosen real estate to be our thing to get better at each and every day. What do you like about real estate?
I love the fact that I can make very large amounts of money in very small amounts of time.
How did I know that was going to be on your list?
Hey, man, you got to love it. I mean, if you think about it this way, take any job. I don't care if it's a nurse, a firefighter, an accountant, whatever. What you're actually doing is you're trading your time for money. That's right. What a job is. You trade time for money. Mm-hmm. And so it makes sense to trade small amounts of time or no amounts of time for much larger amounts of money. And I had a deal. I'm actually very excited to tell you about this, and I'll keep it brief, but I had a wholesale deal go through. For me to find find the seller and the property and find the buyer who wanted it, put the deal together, write up the contracts, go to title and escrow. It took me exactly 47 hours. I was paid a $100,000 assignment fee, $100,000 and 47 hours of work. That is $100,000 in a week. And there are jobs that I don't qualify for that pay $30,000 a year because I don't have a bachelor's degree. And yet doing my own stuff, I can make $100,000 a week.
Yeah. So I want to just put a finer point on that, right? You have invested years getting to the point where you could do this in 40. It's kind of like the plumber that charges you $300 to, fix a leak or whatever. Right. Yes. So it's not like you rolled out of bed and stumbled on six figures. You have a long track record, but again, this deal, this opportunity, 6 figures, 47 hours. I love the fact it was exactly 47 hours. I think that's awesome.
Yes.
So the number one thing I love about real estate investing, and this is after I got smashed in the stock market, is it's inefficient. It's inefficient, right? I could deal, like in your example, we can deal directly with sellers, and the seller situation or seller's opinion or whatever, they may think their widget's worth 200, and because of what I do or what I plan to do with it, it's really worth 400, right? And oh, by the way, if you can lock it up at 200 and you find somebody that'll split the difference and pay 3, in your example, you get paid. I love the fact that real estate's inefficient. I deal with specific sellers. I don't have to say yes to every deal, right? When you buy Apple stock, do you get to pick which shares you buy? No. But if I want to buy in a certain market, I get to pick which ones I want and which situations and at what time. And this house on Main Street may be a bad deal today, but tomorrow it's a fine deal because something changed. Real estate investing is really an information game. The more you look, the more you hone your skills. Back to your 100K example, it took a long time for you to get to this point and see it and create, right? You see it in your mind's eye before it happens. To build that up takes time, but you are justly rewarded for that investment. So the biggest thing I love about real estate investing after 22 years is it's inefficient.
Yeah. I will say the next thing that I love is the insane tax advantages.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, I honestly don't even think it's fair, but I'm in it. So the reason for most of the people who listen to you already know these terms, but depreciation, right? I can't think of any other scenario where legally on paper, you can depreciate the property saying it's going down in value for tax purposes at the same time where it's actually appreciating and going up in value.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. And because you have a depreciation schedule, a lot of the cash flow that you can make from rental properties is untaxed. I was making $40,000 a month in rental income, paying taxes on none of it because I had enough depreciation. And of course, you can also deduct the interest, which your tenants pay anyway. So I just think the thing about real estate is I think any idiot can use it and build wealth.
Yeah.
Where you actually have to know some stuff for other asset classes. With real estate, if you just buy a property and you just kind of wait and hang out, and maybe you rent out a bedroom or two, like, dude, you're going to do fine.
Yeah. The cheat code to wealth, right? Renting out bedrooms as you've done, as Spencer Cornelia in Vegas is doing, big YouTuber. It just is, right? If you can live for free and get on the property ladder and own assets, house hacking is the way to go. I mean, maybe it was around when I was your age. I certainly didn't hear about it, right? It wasn't a thing. It's amazing. So my next one is kind of I guess I'll put two together. I actually have a shirt that says, and I'm looking at it right now, I use inflation to get rich.
Mm-hmm.
I had this shirt created before inflation was at 5, 6, 7, 8%. And the reason that works is because I only buy with 30-year debt. So my debt changes, and I've known for, all of my adult life that the dollar is depreciating, right? Purchasing power, whatever you want to call it. Inflation is real. It just happens to be hyper real today. So for example, I told people on my channel, I don't know, I guess it was 6 or 9 months ago, I was taking out capital at sub 4%. Inflation today is at 8. So I have that money at negative 4%, right? So again, inflation can make you rich. My debt stays fixed. I don't want adjustable rate mortgages. I got my apartments, multifamily, on 30-year fixed rate debt, thanks to a non-QM lender. So again, 30-year debt combined with inflation, just amazing, just amazing.
Yeah, and I'll sort of piggyback off that and say leverage. If you have 200 grand, it means you can buy 200 grand worth of stock, or you can buy $1 million worth of real estate. Yeah. Because you put up a down payment anywhere, you can put it 5% down too, depending on, we don't have to get into all of that, but like, you get it. you can take a small amount of money and you can get a loan for the rest, and other people pay off the loan. Like, it's just ridiculous. You can borrow money cheaply. Mm-hmm. Your tenants pay off the loan. The property goes up in value. You get the tax benefits. Real estate is the closest thing to magic I've ever seen.
Yeah. And again, the other thing people need to realize is the bank takes the risks, the interest rate risk, and you get all the appreciation. Mm-hmm. It's not like you get a 5%, like you put 5% down 90 in the 95% loan. The bank doesn't get 95% of the equity, right? You get all the equity with 5% down. It's just amazing. Mm-hmm. The other thing I want to talk about is in times of recessions or bear markets or negative cycles, which we are heading into, the good investors realize it's not all about price, right? A lot of these videos talk about crash. I don't really care about price too much because, again, I already told you I'm holding for 30 years. I want terms. Like terms are where it gets really amazing, right? You can get seller carries, first or second. You can get low interest rate. You can get balloon payment. You could delay payments. I took over a deal one time years ago where I didn't have payments for 2 years because it was such a heavy fixer. It's just amazing things you could do. And again, I have overpaid on properties and gotten ridiculous, like 1% interest. So in an environment where I couldn't get debt below 7, if I can get a seller at 1, mm-hmm. I win, right?
Absolutely.
So again, it's yes, in a crisis or environment or crash or whatever, a slowdown, prices may come down, right? You might be able to get a small discount. I don't really care about the discount. I want terms, and real estate gives price and terms.
Absolutely.
You got one more?
Yeah. Okay. So very last thing I will say that I love about real estate is that it's a real tangible asset. You can go look at it and you can make sure that it's, there and active. And I think too, it serves a functional purpose, right? So I don't understand why anyone would spend 400 grand on a Bored Ape, which is a picture of a monkey. I just don't get it, right? I don't get it. I might be wrong, but I at least real estate is something I can understand, right? I can understand, okay, this brick and stone and wood, you put it together, it creates a home that is worth 400,000 because somebody can live in it and pay you rent. And it just makes sense to me, right? Yeah. I love that it's a real tangible asset that I can go feel and touch and really get a firm grasp on why it's worth what it's worth.
Yeah. So I'll run through the last 3 that I have just very quickly as we wrap this one up. First, for me, I don't know about you, but I'm an emotional stock trader, right? I get my emotions. I buy at the wrong time. I sell at the wrong time. I'm a horrible stock market investor. Real estate, slow to sell. It's not like I have one bad day, one tenant not pay. I can sell it and just be gone. There's a process, right? It takes weeks. And usually I cool down after 24, maybe 48 hours. So the fact that real estate takes time to sell, for me, it's very helpful. Number 2, this is wild. People don't really get this. But shelter is on the Maslow's hierarchy of need, right? Water, food, shelter. Why is that important? Good times and bad times. Shelter is important. People can double or triple up. They want to invite families to move in. This is what we saw in the Great Recession. Rental housing went up in rent because people lost housing. But they didn't want, like, living in a car is not a great option for most people, right? So again, shelter is needed in good and bad times. And then finally, the biggest one that I did not appreciate until after I went back and wrote my first book was recycling capital. The ability, it's like my first deal back in 2001, I put 20 grand in. That $20,000 over 22 years has ballooned into like 20 units, hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars in equity. That little 20 grand has snowballed, grown, 1031, cash out refied, all these things. I've never done the math, but it's got to be 20,000% return or 2,000% return on that 20 grand. And the ability to recycle capital is just freaking magical. So that's the last one I got.
Yeah, I mean, you said it all. That's Way of the Man. I mean, everybody listening to your channel already knows, and if they haven't had their first investment yet, be patient because sellers are going to freak out, and then you're going to get a property. But yeah, this is real estate is the reason why I love it so much is anyone can be successful. I really do believe that. Where if you start a tech company, it could be $1 billion or it could go to zero. With real estate, just buy property and wait.
Yeah.
You have a place
cash flows day one, 30-year fixed rate debt.
Yes.
No alligators. All that.
No, none of that. And try to stay away from haunted houses. Those are bad.
Those are bad. Not good. Hey, Todd, do me a favor. Where can people find you?
Yes, if you guys want to follow me on Instagram, it is @Todd J. Baldwin, and I'm on YouTube. I am just Todd Baldwin.
Awesome, buddy. Thanks again.